Hey everyone, Dr. Weird 28 here. In today's video, I wanted to go over recognizing different sounds for especially new players when it comes to Tarkov. Something that's different in Tarkov compared to other games like Call of Duty is that it's likely the location of a sound that you make gives away a ton to the more experienced players who know the map. And I'll get into that a little bit later in the video. We're going to start off talking about step one. You should be wearing headsets. I don't have one on in this video, and it sounds fine as it is, but I can promise you, depending on what headset you have on, it makes a huge difference as far as what sound you make. For example, you can hear people further away typically if you have a headset. A specific type. So here we have headphones on. You're walking. You're running. You're running some metal. Oh, maybe not. Jumping. The swivel. So I'm crouched, covertly walking. Still make a little bit of noise. Let's take that same headset off. Not quite as loud. Running. Way quieter. Covertly walking, can't really hear anything. ADS in. Checking mag. So you can see, it makes way more noise if you have the headset on. Obviously, the type of headset, again, makes a difference. My favorite is the M32. I typically recommend, for the most part, stay with one specific headset and learn the variations that you hear based on that. And then you can go from one headset to another if you like, depending on weather. I would say more than anything, maybe the map choice as well. A specific type of headset might drown out some of the ambient noises or things like water a little bit more. Another one might really amplify the sound as a whole, so you can hear things louder. But I absolutely recommend wearing a headset because in a game like Tarkov, typically the first person to hear the other one will often win the fight because then they know where they are and they can react. Obviously, with certain skill differential, it's not always the case. All right. Since we're outside here, one of the things that I want to go over is the sound of falling and jumping. So jumping makes a pretty typical noise like that. It obviously can vary depending on what surface you're jumping off of it or onto. Something similar, though, that people don't realize is you also make similar noises with falling off of something. So I'm just on a rock here, and you can hear that sound of a landing there. If I come a different way, though, it makes a noise, but not nearly the same. There are some instances where you may be falling off a ledge, not making any noise to you, but it makes noise to the people that you're playing with or the people that are around. So do be aware if you ever find yourself kind of just like right there where I just fell off a little bit, even though I made noise. If you do that and you don't hear noise, you're still making noise to those around you. All right, move close to the dorms here so you can get an idea of some other sounds to make. So if you ever hear a brushing against something like that, someone is moving through a bush. There are cases where the wind actually makes a bush move. So you could be standing in the bush and see how these leaves and branches are moving? They could be brushing against you and making the same noise as if you were going through the brush. If you're running, you're going to make more noise than if you're walking. You'll be heard further away as well. especially the heavier you are. When you hear big elephants stomping around, it means there's a very heavy, heavy player around you as well. All right. To help dampen your noise in the game, you can crouch walk. You are still making noise crouch walking, just not quite as loud. You can go into covert movement, which is by hitting caps lock. And you're going to move a lot quieter and more slowly. You are still making noise, just not as loud. Even when crouched, it gets even quieter. But you are still making noise. Even with elite covert movement, at least on previous wipes, you could be almost like not hear any noise at all, but people can still barely hear you. Now, this wipe's a little different because the audio is not great as a whole, this wipe. But that is the general principle that's out there. All right. Other simple noises you should know. Things like opening a door. Sounds similar to closing it. Walking on wood. See the difference between that? Or hear the difference between that and walking on wood like that? A jump. A lot of these things tell people where you are. Metal. So if you know the layout of the map, it can make a big difference as to knowing where a player is. We're going to go into the bathroom here. I'm stepping on tiles, so it makes noises like tile. Looting. Every little thing that you do in the game makes a noise. So if you know the map really, really well, you can hear where it's coming from, and a lot of times know exactly where the person is. Like if you hear someone kicking a door open around this area, you know they're kicking this door open, and they're trying to get an angle on the people coming up and down the stairs right there. If you hear metal in this direction, you know they're coming through the door trying to get an angle there. Glass is another thing that can make a lot of noise. Or down here, first floor, there's a window that people can jump in. So you'll hear them jumping in and over that bed. You might hear people try and shoot the window out and jump through there. But the point is, if you know the location of different objects in the map and the noise they make, you may know exactly where they are because of that. That can be why sometimes you make one noise and immediately a player rushes you because they know where you are based on that noise you made. Now, non-location based noises to be aware of. Laying prone. You've made noise that you've laid prone. Standing up. Laying prone, jumping, they can sound kind of similar. ADSing. People don't realize ADSing and un-ADSing make a lot of noise. A trick you can make, say you're ADSing and you see at the bottom left of the screen that your stam bar, arm stem, is running low, and you don't want to make noise to un-ADS. If you hit Alt-W, brings the gun into overhand position and out of the ADS position without making any noise, or with making significantly less noise. Obviously doing things like checking a mag, reloading, they make noise. Bringing out a grenade to throw, that makes noise. Healing makes noises. You start to heal, a lot of players will push to try and shoot you. Or some people will pretend to start healing, and then they'll cancel it by right-clicking the mouse and be ready to start shooting as soon as you come through the door. It's a little trick that people use just to bait players. Another one people don't realize causes noise. Hitting tab to get into your inventory. In and out of that makes noise. It's a very quiet noise, but it is a giveaway that someone is a player or an AI. So hopefully this helps you with some general ideas. Another one is hitting a button to either turn on a flashlight or laser or change your scope. So if I hit that button, that little clicking, people can hear that. Obviously, doing things like shining a flashlight or a laser will give you away as well. And there are a lot of things I have not covered as far as what noises they make. But just be aware, if you move at all, swiveling, say you're here and you turn just enough, your PMC makes this little swivel noise. If you get up close to a scav, a lot of times you'll hear them turning like that. I'm doing a really loud one, but if you turn even slowly enough, right there, see how that shifts? I'm making a little bit of noise just by doing that. So if you want to make zero noise, which is a strategy if you're playing more ratty or you're just trying to avoid players, literally don't move. Not even in a bush, nothing like that. Every little step you take makes some noise. And the higher attention and perception that the player is that you're around, they're going to hear you farther away than you're going to hear them. So again, any little thing you do is making noise. Now, you could also play more aggressively and just be more W key focused and push the player. And that's perfectly fine, but the concept still applies that say you are a more aggressive player, if you're looting and you hear someone jumping off to the right, odds are you want to push over to them and be prepared for them to come through that door there. If you guys have any specific questions about sound, audio in this game, other than when are they going to fix audio in general, feel free to leave any comments. If you want to see any specific things in explaining Tarkov and getting used to some different aspects of it, let me know in the questions, in the comments. Otherwise, make sure you're wearing some form of ears in Tarkov and know that everything you do makes some kind of noise. Until next time, keep it weird.